is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox. We are FC.
Kauffman Stadium was just what the doctor ordered for the Royals last night. So was good starting pitching. Early scoring, defense, and then late scoring. Dylan G will gladly take that. He makes his first start as a Royal tonight. Royals baseball from Kauffman Stadium on a windy, chilly night. It's Game 2 tonight between the Royals and the Atlanta Braves. And Royals baseball is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price every day. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the ballpark with Rex Hudler. I'm Ryan Lefevre. You know, Hud, last year the Royals' depth with pitching was really a key to winning the division with guys like Ryan Madson, Franklin Morales, Joe Blanton, not even roster guys when spring training began. Same situation this year, and Dylan G makes the start tonight.
That's right. Every baseball team in every season at some particular time have to deal with replacing a starter. So why not go, stay right in your own backyard here, bring up one of your relievers there. That Dylan G's been doing a good job for him, and he has experience. This is the great thing about him. Hopefully he'll take that ball that Ned gave him tonight for the start and run with it.
And just 2 years ago, Dylan G was the opening day starter for the Mets.
Mention experience? How about 110 career starts? That's right, he was an opening day guy too. He's got the pitches, there's no doubt about it, and he's shown that. He's the first guy out of the bullpen to be promoted in that spot, and I hope he pitches well. As
we mentioned, Edinson Volquez, he got some run support last night. He got some great defense, a Royals trademark, and maybe no one better last night than Eric Hosmer, who was on base 4 times and made 2 big plays at first base. Hud and Haas will talk defense when we come back.
He's got it. Little flare to first, and there is the Gold Glover Hosmer.
Haas taking some ground balls before the game, and man, is that gold shining. I had an opportunity to sit down with him at his locker and talk about leather on leather.
This one right here, of course, everyone knows the glove I used for the last couple of years is all worn out now, but this one was actually the backup to the Old Faithful, which I just stopped using last year. And the reason being because all the strings got so worn out and you see the leather kind of fading up inside there and stuff. Right. So this one I've actually been breaking in for almost 2-3 years now, and this one's game ready to go. This is my current backup right here, which I just got in spring training, and I was using it all spring because I feel like the best time for my gloves to break in is during the game, so I'm constantly doing that. So it always breaks in nice and good. And you know, the only problem I have with these throughout the game is the strings get a little loose, so you'll see me tightening up the strings a little bit just to get it going. Because every time with the pockets, first base obviously is getting worn out, so the pockets get a little loose, so you always got to tighten up the strings a little bit.
So are you checking those daily?
Yeah, you see me in between pitches, I'll be biting on the strings just like that, getting them going.
And with Esky's hose and that 95 he throws over to you, that loosens those strings.
The whole infield. Now that Moose is out for a little bit, the glove gets a little break from from the left side. But no, you have to, man, especially at first. Remember last year, CY did a pickoff, and it went right through the webbing. So at first base gloves, that happens a lot. So that's why, you know, you can't afford one mistake out there. So I'm trying to tighten it up as long as possible.
What did you do with the gamer you just discarded? Do you keep those?
Yeah, that's going in the Hall of Fame of the Hosmer household. It's been through 2 World Series, a couple Gold Gloves, so that one's sitting up in the mantle.
Ha ha, the man from Haas. That was outstanding. Hope it continues tonight here at the K on both sides of the ball. But let me tell you, Chesler Cuthbert, he's coming up next.
Stadium, you know, it was a week ago today, Mike Moustakas went on the disabled list. The Royals were not playing well, so then they lose an all-star and then enter our Honda most trusted player, Chesler Cuthbert.
Always great to go down to the minor leagues and pull out a star, and that's exactly what he's playing like. Cuthbert has done the job offensively and defensively.
Cuthbert will try and extend that hitting streak to 8 games tonight against the Braves. An even 6 on the road and just 3.30 here after Edinson Volquez went 7 innings last night and allowed just 1 earned run. Game 2 with Atlanta is coming up next. Missouri Lottery. Every ticket you play gives back to schools across Missouri, so play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. By Menards, save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. And by your Midwest Ford dealers, visit your MidwestFordDealers.com. Big crowd tonight. It's a sunny night. It is windy, and that wind is still blowing out of the northwest, so it's chilly, and especially so when the sun goes down. The national anthem was just performed with kids on the field, taking the field with the Royals today. Dylan G's making his first start as a member of the Royals. The Royals really have the luxury tonight of using a fill-in starter who threw 70 pitches in his last outing, and Dylan talked before the game about what his expectations are as far as pitch count tonight?
Should be good for anywhere from 75, 80. That a lot depends on how stressful those innings are too. What kind of situations you're in can definitely affect kind of how you feel. Like I said, I'm kind of in the mindset now that I'm going to try to get as deep as I can with 75, 80 pitches and go from there.
And so far he has pitched exclusively out of the bullpen for the Royals. 7 appearances, but 2 of those appearances are 4 1/3 innings, and then his most recent appearance was 5 1/3 innings leading into this start.
Well, regardless, whoever gets a start in place of an injured starter has to really impress the manager, and that's what G has done in his relief appearances. Fastball, slider, curve, and change, and most pitchers all have these same pitches, but there's variations of their pitches and there's different speeds. Now for him, he's going to average 90 miles an hour. We might see some 93s from him, but he's going to do the best he can do, like he said, with the few amount of pitches he has tonight in the tank. But hopefully, if he's on his game, that'll be good enough to get him 5.
Last night, Edinson Volquez really benefited from an aggressive Atlanta Braves team. He got a lot of fast outs. He was throwing strikes early. The Braves were swinging. And we bring that up because in looking at what Dylan G does in the first 2 pitches of an at-bat, we'll show you that in just a moment. Here's the Braves batting order tonight. Changes from last night. A.J. Pierzynski is behind the plate instead of Tyler Flowers. Otherwise, the other 8 were in there last night against Volquez. Lowest opponent's average with 2 strikes this year. And I don't know if there's a guy on the list that you would think of right off the top of your head, but Dylan G with at least 20 innings pitched this year. When he has 2 strikes, a hitter is hitting .063. So we might see the Braves with a similar approach tonight as they had last night.
Well, that works as long as they're making that early contact and hitting it right at people. Keeps the pitch count down. That'd be perfect for G if he does that.
And there's Markakis swinging at the first pitch and fouling it away. Nick Markakis, DH in both games so far and leading off. That's very rare. And he was 0 for 4 in last night's game.
He's got some hits off of G in his career. 5 for 9. 5 for 10.
And he swings at the second pitch. 1 down. Same defense for the Royals tonight as last night. Royals defense presented by Ford. So Paulo Orlando gets a 2nd straight start in right field. And if the Braves try to run on Salvador Perez, he has thrown out 10 of 20 so far this year. So 1 down to Ender Inciarte. And Ciarte, like Markakis, was 0 for 4. The Braves just really couldn't get anything going from the top of their order last night. Hitters 1, 2, and 3 were a combined 1 for 12. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, it's almost like they were just flailing and bailing. Didn't have a plan to me, other than maybe get him early in the count, but they just were giving at bats away, if you ask me.
2 balls and 1 strike. I asked Ned Yost about the scouting report on the hitters, and Kevin Seitzer has the challenge of taking all these guys from different organizations and trying to get them to have a team concept. Here's a fly ball into center field, and Kane is right there for the out. I asked Ned, I said, was that the scouting report on the Braves, or is that just what comes with a struggling team and maybe they're anxious at the plate? And he said, don't forget, we've made a pretty good living swinging early in the count, so it's not always because you're anxious at the plate.
Hey, you're right. Got a chance to talk to Kevin Seitzer today, but it wasn't very long. Just the simple pleasantries. Usually when you see somebody you haven't seen in a while, a little hug. Hey, how's everybody? How's family? Good. Didn't have a chance. He went right to the cage. I wanted to ask him, but he was busy. Was that your game plan last night? But oh well.
Freddie Freeman was 0 for 4. And down in the count, no balls and 2 strikes. Down and away. .37 at bats for Freddie Freeman against Dylan G. And Dylan G has made more starts against the Braves than any other team in his career. So there'll be a handful of guys in there who are well aware of his pitching arsenal. This is start number 18 in Dylan G's career against the Braves. And the count goes from 0-2 to 3-2. In fact, the last time that Dylan G made a start was the middle of June last year, and that was against the Braves. So Freeman takes a walk after being down in the count, no balls and 2 strikes.
You know, you could tell that G was a little bit respectful of him. But, you know, when you have a guy 0-2, lots of times you see pitchers start to nibble. I'm going to hit him on a spot on the corner here. I'm going to keep this ball down over here, and I'm going to try to get him to swing at that one. Sometimes you're better off just going right after him.
And a slider for a strike to Kelly Johnson.
And, you know, they call that term nibbling. And if you mention that word to a pitcher, they get offended.
On the ground to Cologne. Over to first in time. So the 2-out walk is harmless. Dylan G has a scoreless top of the first. The first inning, the Royals open the homestand with 5 runs on 7 hits. Scoring in the first inning, Alcides Escobar scored the game's first run and then drove in the second run. Christian Colon will be at second base. That's the change from last night's starting lineup. And tonight the Royals will face Hud.
They will face a young man named Mike Foltynewicz.
Well played.
And his teammates call him Folty.
There we go.
Yeah, I think we might.
So we're going to call him Folty the rest of the night?
I am going to.
Have you met him?
No.
Can you call someone by their nickname if you've never met him before?
No, so I'm going to call him Foltynewicz. Changed my mind just now. Thank you.
2 in a row. Escobar lines it to center field, but he hit it right at Smith. 1 pitch, 1 away. So what can we expect from Folty tonight?
Foltynewicz, fastball, 93 to 95. He's got a little sinking action to it. He'll add velocity later in the game. That's what I read about him. Slider down and away to righties. His put away pitch to right-handers. He's got a big curveball, big breaks, got some good depth to it. His changeup is pretty straight. He uses it down and away to left-handed batters.
Look at that opponent's batting average on the fastball. And looking at that fastball right there and the one to Escobar, I don't think there's a lot of movement on it. 423 on his fastball. And Kane, little bloop out into right field. He's on with one out.
Three pitches, 2 balls put into play. That's an inside-out swing. Ball was in. He was trying to water the low Kane triangle garden out there in right center, and he just missed. But it's a knock and a beautiful placement there.
And it's a 9-game hitting streak for Lorenzo Cain, and he's hit safely in 15 of his last 16 games, and he's added 80 points to his batting average over that stretch. Hosmer takes a fastball low at 96 miles an hour.
Less than 200 at bats, so right at 200. The average goes up quick, goes down quick. But once you start getting 200, 250, 250 at bats, it doesn't go up as fast. The more at bats you get.
Fastball strike. 1-1 to Hosmer. Every time Eric came to the plate last night, he reached. He walked 3 times, and he singled and scored a run. Hosmer has done well against everybody. He's been the Royals' most consistent hitter this year. Against the National League, he's been exceptionally good, hitting .412. And with those 6 walks, his on-base percentage is .565. Close, but Cain is back to first in time.
Cain with 4 steals. He's been caught 3 times. Still, Fultonevich believes he's going to go.
Strike at 95, and the count is 1-2. If you're wondering why Hosmer didn't swing at that pitch, maybe he didn't see it very well, but remember, it's a 6 o'clock start, so it's a combination of shadows and bright sunlight, which is advantage pitcher in the early innings. That's way inside. Cain with a delayed steal. He is in there.
Now, A.J. Pierzynski didn't get the grip. And so I'm thinking, no way he's going to throw him out. He almost threw him out. And Pierzynski, he's not known for his catching throwing ability. He has a 19% of throwing out runners in his career, just 16% this year. And Locane got him. That delay steal is designed to steal it off of the catcher if he's not paying attention, or the middle infielders who put their head down after the pitch goes home.
Freddie Gonzalez just came out and talked with home plate umpire Ed Hickox, and I think he was asking about interference because Hosmer walked across home plate. Two balls, 2 strikes, and Hosmer hits a ground ball just foul outside of third.
Okay, now see, Haas's weight takes him over the plate, but he was conscious of it, and he ducked and cleared his path, and home plate umpire saw that.
You know what I think happened right there, Hud? I think Pierzynski not getting the grip helped Hosmer because it gave him more time to clear the area. If Pierzynski throws immediately, he probably makes contact with Hosmer, and then you get the interference call.
Totally agree. The game is amazing. Timing involved.
Through the left side, Cain had to make sure it got through, so he'll advance to third. So Eric Hosmer is perfect in this series. He's come to the plate 5 times, and he has reached 5 times.
That's amazing. He knows the fastball is coming, so he shortens up his swing and goes to the opposite field. He sees what's ahead of him. No stride. Okay, that's that 2-strike approach where he doesn't pick his foot up or load up his hips. He's just looking to do exactly that.
Now Kendrys Morales with a chance to drive in a run. Big breaking ball is in for a strike, and it's 0-1. The Royals have had 11 straight games coming into tonight where somebody has scored in the first inning. Our Toyota League leaders. The Royals have the second fewest games in the major leagues with out at first base. Hosmer tagged out. He wants another look at it. But to finish the thought, only the Red Sox have played fewer games with no runs scored going into the second inning.
Well, Hosmer was thinking about getting a good jump on him. Let's see. I don't know. I know that Freddie had made a nice tag on him and brought it right up real quick, but I'm not sure that Hosmer's hand wasn't in there. I thought it was. Okay, on the bag there. And then there's the tag.
So the Royals use their challenge right away in the bottom of the first inning. Sorry, Hud.
That's okay. What Hosmer's was doing is he's trying to get he's cheating on the jump. He's trying to cheat a little bit and get that little start. And Foltynewicz showed some quick feet and a nice throw over there. Okay, let's see him now. So a lot of guys will get, Haas especially gets a short lead. It appears he's not going anywhere. Then he tries to time it quickly, but he's able to get back what I thought was in time, but maybe not. And see, when you're right-handed, that's the big difference between the two. We talked about them last night. Hosmer and Freeman. And the difference is Freeman's a right-handed first baseman. The advantage goes to Hosmer. Left-handed first baseman, they make that tag easier, and they play first base over there because they get the hole in between second and first. That glove is out there. That's why they like left-handed first baseman.
Hosmer and Freeman, we were talking about them last night. Joel was comparing their career numbers, and they were having some fun dialoguing last night, and they're having fun right now as they're watching the replays on the video board. I'm going to guess it is going to be a call stands. There just wasn't a great angle. There weren't a lot of options. So it is a call stands. So no clear and convincing evidence to overrule the call by Mike Estabrook. So Royals had a chance to score a run by making it out. Now it's going to take a base hit. And Morales fouls it away. 0-2.
Well, you know, you don't want to blame Hosmer for that. He was trying to pick a pitch, but you got to credit Foltynewicz for that. That was a good pickoff right there. That helped him out big time in this inning. That's a big play for him.
And Foltynewicz uses that to get through the first inning without allowing a run.
Stadium, 60 degrees, and winds out of the west-northwest at 12 miles per hour. Joel Goldberg back down by the Royals dugout. A little bit more difficult last night, as those winds last night were over 20 miles per hour, and that made for an interesting night, without a doubt, for the infield. Guys talking to Alcides Escobar about that, and Christian Colon, who's in there tonight. And first I said to Esky, how about the wind last night? And he misunderstood and thought I said win. He said nice, and I said no, the wind, and he said, oh, not nice at all. He said it was challenging. Balls popped up to shortstop, having to go over to second base to get them. Christian Colon saying the biggest key for those infielders when the wind is taking it, as you see it did last night, is early communication. Make sure that you see each other, make sure that you're loud and talking to each other right away, and then try to stay with the play. Alcides Escobar and company able to do that last night.
Thank you, Joel. That's a 3-pitch strikeout for Dylan G against Jeff Francoeur. That's G's first strikeout.
See that swing he just took? I made a career of those swings.
Well, that's saying something, because most people don't have a career when you're taking swings like that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the kind of swing that I think I would take.
Well, look, that's tough when you're sitting on a fastball and he throws that one and you look like that. That's what happens. You know, he was looking heated, and he got the curve. Freddie Gonzalez is playing Frenchie more because Frenchie has been swinging a pretty good bat. He says, I'm just going to go with him. He was platooning earlier.
1-1 to A.J. Pierzynski, who has a long history in this ballpark. Off of Hosmer's glove, and a race to the bag, and it's thrown behind Dylan G. Pierzynski will hold at first base. You're going to call that a base hit.
AJ would agree. But because he didn't have that great a speed, and G didn't break right away, G was still able to get both of the guys hesitated because they thought anything that hits that leather from Hosmer is always caught.
You feel partly guilty for that play over at first base?
Not at all, because you know this game is so early. Haas is going to save 3 more errors today and also 2 runs.
And I say that because I enjoyed your conversation with Hosmer before the first pitch tonight, talking about his glove, a very weathered glove, and when he makes the change and how he breaks in the new ones and how he keeps the strings tight.
I'm glad you liked it. I really enjoyed that opportunity I had in New York with him. Just to sit down, you know, and talk about it, let him share with the people about the gloves and the process that goes through it. You're good with about 3 years with the glove, especially playing every day like he is. And then the leather starts to wear out. And then, you know, what are you going to do? You have to have a backup, so you start breaking that in like he was talking about his backup glove. And I was hopeful he didn't give his gamer that he retired away somewhere, because when he gets done playing, he'll want that glove. And I'm glad he put that on the shelf. And he says, no, that's going to be my keepsake. That's my baby. So I'm glad he's saving that for him and his family.
2 World Series, couple of gold gloves with the old one. 1-2 on Gordon Beckham. Chance for 2. And the Royals turn it. So the misplay doesn't amount to anything, and Dylan G opens tonight with 2 scoreless innings. powder blue sky overhead. Big crowd. No score to the bottom of the second inning. Time for our sprint trivia question. Who are the only 4 third basemen since 1969 to record 6 hits in a game? 4 third basemen since 1969 to record 6 hits in a game.
Here we go again.
One is in the house. Here's a former third baseman, Alex Gordon. He takes outside, ball 1.
So before you start guessing all the right answers, try to give me one tonight, okay? You've been spitting all the right answers out before I even can get my small brain to work. So I'm saying George Brett. George has got to be here. He's got to be one.
Nope. Hit right at Smith. That's the second time a Royal has lined to center field. In fact, both times leading off the inning. Escobar did it in the first. Now Dave Holtzman just gave you a heck of a clue. You saw one of them accomplish that. As Salvador Perez comes to the plate. Salvi drove in 2 in the Royals' 3-run 8th inning last night to put the game away. And he takes a breaking ball upstairs for ball 1.
All right. Is it?
Well, if you saw it, you tell us. 1-1.
I'd like to say 2. There's 2 third basemen in that Braves dugout over there that could be an answer. Seitzer or Pendleton.
Who's to say it's not both of them? You're right on one of them.
Thank you.
Kevin Seitzer has a 6-hit game.
Ooh.
Drilled left center field into a crosswind, and Smith leaped right by it. Salvador Perez is into second base with 1 out.
On contact, I thought it was a no-doubter. It sounded good. It had good height to it to get it out in left center here at the K, and wind kind of held it back some, and it looked like a slider. Salvi put his head down and ran. Smith, the center fielder, had a great jump on it, went straight as a string to the spot, and like you said, it just hit off his thumb. Too bad. He's bummed out. Oh, it's off the end. Ooh, and then how's that wire feel?
A wire fence sandwich, as you would say.
Yeah. Ooh, man.
One 1-0 on Cuthbert.
Royals in this young game so far have been really putting the wood on him, and now he's saying enough of that. I'm going to start loosening up some guys so they're not so comfortable up there on me. It's not a bad pitch.
Cuthbert out to Johnson at second base. Perez goes to third, but there are 2 down. And now Christian Colon, 27 years old today. Got a lot of playing time during the last road trip. He started 5 of the 7 games. Taking a look at a fastball up and away at 97.
Royals gradually creeping up in that average with runners in scoring position. They're at 243 tonight. Colon, he's 3 for 9. Makes him 333. Big hole up the middle. Ibar's playing him to pull. It's short.
That was a breaking ball. 2 balls and no strikes. Apparently, if you're right-handed, you throw hard, you're in the National League East, and you have long blonde hair, you're a headhunter when you face the Royals.
Ooh. All right.
2-1.
We talked about how Fulton Nevich uses that slider to righties.
Good location. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Effective pitch there after pitching him up and in.
Curveball slider mix, and he picked out the corner there. Well placed. Cologne likes to spray the ball around. Matter of fact, he's good on the right side.
Still 2-2. Off speed and struck him out. So that's the second time in 2 innings. Foltynewicz has ended the inning with a strikeout and a runner at third base. No score at the end of 2.
Stadium. Positive news on the injury front regarding 3 different Royals, as we see in our University of Kansas hospital report. The injury report: Mike Moustakas, Chris Young, and Chris Medlin all on the disabled list, all progressing at this point. Talking to Young and Medlin today, along with trainer Nick Kennedy. In the case of Medlin, the MRI showed some fluid up there in the shoulder, just a grade 1 rotator cuff strain. And Nick Kennedy telling me they're hoping that he will be able to start throwing mid to late next week. In Chris Young's case, talking to him, 3 strains in the forearm, not serious, grade 1. And he said that for him, as we're going to see the bunt here, and a nice job to get on. Chris Young very encouraged, hoping only 15 days, and it gave him some answers of why that was happening, why he couldn't finish his pitches. And in the case of Mike Moustakas, he's been able to play catch the last couple of days. That's new, and hoping to maybe swing to contact tomorrow. So all 3 progressing well.
Looks like he's in a terrific sunflower seed target game with Omar Infante.
One of the favorite games of guys that are riding the pine for 9. They're trying to hit they set up a cup over there, and depending on how the steps are, the higher the step you put the cup on, the harder it is. So you put it down. It all depends. All those fun games. Look. Hey.
Say
Rhino,
that again.
Rhino, let me tell you another thing too. I don't know if they still have pumpkin seeds in there, but the pumpkin seeds are big and they're flat and they really fly. So a lot of guys will hold them and they'll flick it with their middle finger and their thumb, and they'll flick them out on the field, and they'll see who gets the furthest flick. That's always a special game.
There we go. Smith was leaning in the wrong direction, and he is tagged out. So we've had 2 pickoffs already. Foltynewicz got Hosmer in the first inning, and now Freddie Gonzalez gets a leadoff man on in the third, but Smith is picked off.
Dylan G, good quick motions, but Smith, man, he had hardly any reaction back to first.
And with that little flinch, official score David Boyce is going to call that a caught stealing. Those pumpkin seeds right there, Ed. Alex comes up at left field, and that'll take care of Eric Ibar.
No, there's no pumpkin seeds in there. Those are all regular seeds. You can't flick regular seeds; they're too small. I got a great story about that if we have time later in the game. I know this is early in this game here, but those pumpkin seeds really can be flicked a long way.
I think I've heard the story. It involves a former Royal, does it not?
Sure does.
There's a strike to Nick Markakis. He grounded out to short in the first inning.
So if on a good day I could get a pumpkin seed to the baseline from the dugout, that was a good flick for me. That's a long way. Think about that. So I'm bragging on my stuff, and
while you're with the Angels,
flick, right? And then my teammate Bo Jackson happened to be riding the Pine for 9 with me, and he goes, "Hud, I'll show you." Bo Jackson, the first pumpkin flick he flicks it, and it hits the pitcher in his windup. And I fell out. I said, done with playing games with you.
2-2 on Markakis. I don't remember that being one of the Bo knows chapters.
Right.
But apparently Bo knows pumpkin seed flicking.
That's a story that maybe I would only know because him and I were just sitting there like Moose and Infante were.
Strike 3. Got a changeup down in the strike zone. Markakis doesn't think so. He talks it over with home plate umpire Ed Hickox. And even with a leadoff single, that's just a 7-pitch third inning for Dylan G. The outfield experience. Royals Hall of Famer, and his retired number 10 is on the facade of the Royals Hall of Fame. Led the Royals to the World Championship in 1985. No score, bottom of the third. Paulo Orlando, Alcides Escobar, and Lorenzo Cain. Paulo had a tough time laying off that pitch last night, breaking balls down and away, and was 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. He did reach after being hit by a pitch. And back with a fastball and quickly 0-2.
So after a night like that, players sometimes wouldn't expect to be in the lineup in a position like Paulo, kind of platooning with Gerard Dyson, but Ned Yost says, hey, look, we'll let you back in there.
Foltynewicz thought that was a strike.
He's already walking off. A little head shake. See that wiggling of the finger right there? You see that? He's wiggling. He's trying to throw the hitter off. Anytime a pitcher moves his glove, they're watching it. And when the pitcher's moving the bottom 3 fingers like that, he's doing that on purpose. Okay, let's see now. If he does it every time, then the hitter's confused. So he needs to do that every time.
Line left center field. Base hit for Paulo. So Foltynewicz missed with a borderline call. That extend the at bat for Paulo Orlando, and he's on to begin the 3rd inning.
Curveball in the inner half. Stayed with it.
Alcides Escobar swung at the first pitch from Foltynewicz and lined to center field in the 1st inning. Escobar in the first 2 innings last night scored a run and then drove in a run. Here we are on May the 14th, and it's the first time this month the Royals have played in a game with no score at the end of 2 innings. And a lot of scoring in the early innings. Nobody scored in the first tonight, and that snapped a string of 11 straight games where the Royals or their opponents scored in the first. Zinski makes a play in front of the screen. Escobar trying to bunt his way on, and now 1 away.
Fastballs belt high are hard to get on top of. Escobar's bat head drop down, and when that happens, you do that. You pop it up. He was hoping for a slider. A slider is a perfect one to bunt. It's got a little break going down. It helps you get on top of the ball. But that one's a tough one.
So 1 on 1 out to Lorenzo Cain. He takes a fastball for a strike. All of a sudden, Foltynewicz has had more movement on his fastball. First couple of innings, that fastball was pretty straight. Cain singled and stole a base in the 1st inning. Now he cracks his bat. Beckham to second 1. Throw back to first is pulled out of the dirt by Freeman, and that ends the inning. The Royals and the Braves are scoreless through 3. Devine, along with other parents, has tried to provide a reasonable baseball option to youth in the Kansas RBI program, acting as a landscaper, a coach, a mentor, an advocate, an activist, and many other roles. Coach Devine wants to make sure the youth in Kansas City and the Kansas City metro area have a great area to play baseball in. He is sitting in the Buck O'Neil legacy seat at tonight's game. Rich Devine, once upon a time a Royals minor leaguer, played a couple of summers in the Royals minor league system. Ender Inciarte to lead off the 4th inning and grounds it through the hole on the left side. Inciarte is 1 for 2. That is the 3rd hit for the Braves against Dylan G in 3+ innings. All singles. Braves last night had 7 hits against Royals pitching and 1 extra base hit. They have the lowest slugging percentage in the major leagues. Freddie Freeman takes a fastball a little bit low. 1 ball and no strikes. Freeman was down 0-2 in the 1st inning, but hung in there long enough to take a walk. Two balls and no strikes. On the topic of that low slugging percentage, our Kubota power stats. The Braves have not hit a triple yet. 34 games is the 3rd longest to begin a season in Major League history without a triple. And if you're going to hit a triple, this is one of the best ballparks to do so. Inciarte runs. The pitch is swung on and missed. Inciarte is out.
Salvador Perez got a nice pitch to handle, although it was a little bit inside, but he was able to backhand it and then get his feet aimed towards second and a nice over the throw top with a little bit of tail at the end. Perfect.
Three and two on Freeman.
It's 11 base stealers he's nailed this year. Tied for the most in Major League Baseball.
Freeman may have swung at ball 4. Too close to take. Still 3 balls, 2 strikes. Struck him out. Number 3 for Dylan G.
Dylan G looked like he put a little slider on that. Got our super slow motion camera back. That's always good to have. Fun to have.
41 pitches. Number 42 is fouled away by Kelly Johnson. Ned Yost thought he could be somewhere in the 85 to 90 pitch range. That's if everything is going right. Now Danny Duffy tomorrow will be in a much different position. He hasn't been stretched out like Dylan G has, so Duffy may be somewhere around 40, 45, maybe 50 pitches. 1 and 2 on Kelly Johnson. Very pitch efficient, including a 7-pitch 3rd inning. Still 1 and 2. 91 miles an hour, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Struck him out. So for the second straight inning, Dylan G gives up a leadoff single and yet only faces 3. He has 4 strikeouts in 4 scoreless innings.
Looking good.
Morales and Alex Gordon.
All right, let's take a look at the pickoff move. This is perfectly done. Anytime you have one throw, that's perfect. But here's what I like. Hosmer ran him down long enough so G could get over there in case they needed another throw. That was the whole key to this play. He didn't give it up right away. He runs him, and lets the next guy come forward. One play, but he let G get over there in case they needed him there. Excellent job by Hos.
It's jammed, shallow left field, and caught by Enciarte. Hosmer is 1 for 2. In celebration of the Negro Leagues, join us tomorrow. Final game of the series with the Braves. The first 10,000 fans through the gates receive this Kansas City Monarchs fedora modeled by Gerard Dyson, courtesy of KSHB Channel 41. And make sure you come in your Sunday best, dressed to the nines. Tomorrow at 1:15. Get those tickets now at royals.com/NLBM. Kendrys Morales struck out in the first inning. Fultonevich got him with a high fastball. And now a changeup, no balls and 2 strikes. Lined right to the second baseman Johnson. So Morales falls victim to the shift. 2 or 3 years ago, that's a base hit to right field every single time.
Yep, there's that little triangle defense that a lot of teams use over there on Morales, and they had him in the right spot. He hit that ball so hard, if the second baseman was over 1 or 2 steps to either side, he would have gotten a base hit. But Johnson had him played well.
Big curveball for a strike to Alex Gordon. He lined out to center field in the second inning. Fultonevich has done a really good job of mixing his pitches. And that's the key for him with that big arm. If he's up there just throwing, meaning thinking more about velocity, he's going to have trouble. And we showed you the .423 opponent's batting average against his fastball. But with that fastball, if he's able to throw his other pitches for strikes, well, he gets the results like he's gotten so far tonight. 2-2.
And you know, the pitch to lefties is going to keep him honest is the changeup. He's got good arm speed. Same as his fastball, makes it deceptive. Plus the change of speeds.
96 with that fastball. He has struck out 3 in 4 scoreless innings. So a Dylan G. Mike Fultonevich duel in the first 4 innings. Fifth inning. Here's our greater coverage of baseball brought to you by T-Mobile. Matt Bush, first overall pick in front of Justin Verlander. About 12 years ago, made his major league debut last night at age 30. It's quite a story. A lot of trouble on and off the field, including spending some time in prison. But finally got to the big leagues at age 30. Struck out the first hitter he faced. Very, very interesting story. Adam Jones and Troy Tulowitzki with home run number 200 in their careers.
Got a few highlights of the young man that you were talking about. His fastball was explosive. He had life on it. Happy to hear he got in there.
San Diego Padres, by the way, were the team that took Matt Bush in front of Justin Verlander. He was a shortstop at that time. He as Francoeur, did he get a piece? He did. Still no balls and 2 strikes. Matt Bush had grown up in the San Diego area, and so the Padres were really in a bind. You've got a kid that has the potential of being a first overall pick, and that's a huge burden to have, and they didn't want to pass on the local kid. Trying to go way upstairs on Francoeur. 1 ball and 2 strikes. So they went with Matt Bush. That did not pan out at all for the Padres. Justin Verlander's been a nice pick for the Detroit Tigers.
Sure has.
That's a swing. Mike Estabrook is the first base umpire, and Dylan G has struck out Jeff Francoeur twice, and that's 5 strikeouts in 4 1/3 for G.
I love G's fastball tonight. It's setting up the other pitches. It's setting the pace. He's got a great tempo going, but the fastball, it's got some real nice run on it. He's got those hitters looking for it, and then he's been working in the secondary pitches as well. Changeup, good one.
And he's been ahead of 12 of the 15 batters he has faced. Kane with the wind knocking that ball down, makes the play on Pierzynski, who is 1 for 2. Well, Shocker fans, don't miss out on Wichita State Day, May 28th. The Royals host the White Sox. The first 10,000 fans who bring their Wichita State themed ticket to the designated table receive this limited edition gray, black, and gold branded KC cap, courtesy of Fox Sports Kansas City and Rally House. Again, May 28th. And you can get those tickets at royals.com/theme tickets. 2 down to Gordon Beckham. He grounded into a double play in the second inning. Dylan G, 4 2/3 innings, and he's only thrown 56 pitches.
You know, you never want to get an opportunity because of somebody else's injury. But when they call your name, you say, all right, I'm going to fill in admirably. I'm going to do exactly what my manager wants me to do. I'm going to go out there and keep my team in the game and try to, get deep in as I can in the game and save some of that bullpen arm. He's done that so far. He's looking really good. Attacking the strike zone.
Cuthbert charges, throws, inning over. 5 scoreless innings. So to the bottom of the 5th, Salvador Perez will lead off with no score.
Salvador Perez has driven in 5 in the first 5 innings.
Manager in the major leagues.
Hey, you know what? He didn't vote himself in that position, but he'll take it. I like his smile. He's comfortable. He's watching his team. Of course, that's from last year. He's watching them have their best season ever. George Brett told us that. He thinks it's the best Royals team ever. I'd have a smile too.
I think it's 2 years in a row he's been voted the 3rd most handsome manager in the major leagues. Salvador Perez leads off the 5th inning with a base hit. Salvi is 2 for 2. He doubled back in the 2nd inning. So Ned gets his bobblehead tonight, and in our Mazda game break, we go back to 2010 on this date. Ned Yost got his first win as manager of the Royals. Look at some of these names: David DeJesus, Gil Mesh, Jason Kendall, Blake Wood, Mitch Meyer, Mike Aviles, Alberto Callaspo. Man. And now the manager in Royals history with the most wins, Ned Yost.
So if that Royals fan that mistaken me for Ned Yost in the grocery store a couple years ago, that was a compliment to me then. if she thought I was Ned Yost, then they must thought I was halfway decent looking.
I think there's a difference between handsome and halfway decent looking. By the way, if you're wondering, the managers of this poll that were voted ahead of Ned, Brad Osmus and Mike Matheny. 3 catchers, by the way, for the top 3. Down and away, 1-2 on Chesler Cuthbert. He grounded out to second base in the second inning. By the way, you've been working on our trivia questions. Speaking of third baseman,
I have
4 third basemen since 1969, year 1 of the Royals, who have had 6 hits in a game. Smith waits for it in center field, and there is one down. So we've got Kevin Seitzer.
Okay. That was my guess.
Now
I'm going to take that one.
I think I've got the one that you saw. I just started.
I have that.
Who?
Sean Figgins.
Sean Figgins. Good work. So 2 down, 2 to go.
And you know what? Sean Figgins was a really good third baseman. Built low to the ground, had a cannon for an arm. He was cat quick going to his left and to his right.
But the flight from Anaheim to Seattle made a stop through the twilight zone, apparently, because I thought that was a great signing by the Mariners to get Sean Figgins, exactly what they needed, and he just fell to pieces when he went to the Mariners.
Yeah.
Colon grounds it out to short. Ibar out at second base. Low throw, and it gets by Freeman and goes into the camera bay. So a break. First of all, no double play. That would have ended the inning. And with the error, the Royals have a runner in scoring position.
Johnson rushes the throw. He has plenty of time. With no threat of a base runner knocking you down anymore, you can't miss double plays like that. He rushed it. And Salvador slid 15 feet in front of the base. Royals, they usually make their opponents hurt. They make them pay for it when they make a mistake like that. Let's see if it happens here. Looking for a hit with the runner in scoring position. Paulo 333 in that department.
Fastball at 97 for a strike. Paulo was down in the count in the 3rd inning and singled to left center field. Down in the count, 1-2. Fultonevich has really struggled in an area where pitchers should thrive, and that is pitching with 2 strikes. And now the count is 0-2 as Paulo goes out of the strike zone, especially a guy with an arm like this. You figure he gets ahead of the hitters, and the hitters are going to be very defensive. But Fultonevich with 2 strikes allows a .256 opponent's batting average, highest among active major leaguers. And now Paulo, did it get him on the hand? Pierzynski claims that it got him on the knob of the bat, or got the knob of the bat.
Lots of times umpires will ask you to see it. They'll say, let me see it. And he wants to see the other glove. He wants to see the other hand now. Oh man, that hit him in the wrist. And I'm glad he's all right. It didn't hit the knob of the bat.
They just appealed down to first base umpire Mike Estabrook, and Estabrook said no swing. So I think the call was right there. You know, if you swing and you get hit by a pitch, it's still a swing. But so no swing.
He's fortunate that he's not hurt on that. That's a tender area to get hit. That's right at the base of the wrist. Man, that's tough. They're going to make him go back in there.
Royals are without a challenge, using their challenge in the 1st inning. That's why Paulo Orlando is forced to stay in there with the count 0-2. That's all right. He wants a hit anyway. Way outside, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Boy, you're right, Hud. That could easily be a cracked wrist.
That's a tender area right there. Hitters,
there's really no meat there at all.
Nothing. Man, that's a tough deal there. Look at this.
Still 1 ball and 2 strikes.
So he comes right back in there again.
A.J. Pierzynski, and he rubs a lot of people the wrong way, and he has for most of his career. Is also one of the smartest baseball players in the game. Love him or hate him, and his instinct right away was to call attention to Orlando and say, no, that hit him. Because I don't know if Ed Hickox made a call either way right away. Down and away, 2 balls and no strikes. I didn't see Ed Hickox, and I could be wrong, but I didn't see him immediately say dead ball hit by pitch or dead ball foul ball.
No, and if we show you that replay again in slow motion, Hickox, he didn't even see it. He was right over the shoulder, the left shoulder.
Foltynewicz was walking off the mound. Now he was upset facing Paulo Orlando in the 3rd inning when he didn't get a call on what would have been strike 3, and then Paulo got a base hit, and now the same thing happens again here where he missed with a borderline pitch, and the count goes to 3-2 on Paulo. Pickoff play second base, and Colon just barely got back in there.
You know, on the play that Hosmer fell across the plate, Pierzynski's really good at initiating contact on those, and I'm surprised he didn't get that one. But he's very intelligent, high IQ. See, look, Hickok didn't even see it, and it hit solid bone.
And then he said dead ball, so he did not make the call right away. That's an A.J. Pierzynski specialty. Fouled away. Remember, it was against the Angels. I think you were broadcasting for the Angels in that playoff series between the White Sox and the Angels, and he convinced the home plate umpire as a batter that when he swung and missed that the ball hit the dirt.
Right. Josh Paul was catching. Pierzynski was hitting, and he took off running down the first base line like a scalded dog. He was running hard, and Josh Paul caught it and was running off the field for the 3rd out. And because Pierzynski made it look so good, he sold the play, and they stayed in, and the next guy hit a big hit off the wall, and that was it.
Yep. I remember a game Aaron Crow was pitching. A.J. Pierzynski was at 3rd base, and Aaron Crow did something on the mound. We never picked it up, and he just started yelling balk, screaming balk. All of a sudden, the umpires called balk, and it was a balk-off win.
How about that?
And we watched that replay over and over again and never really saw anything, but that's A.J. Pierzynski. Driven into center field. Smith goes back, still back, and he's got it with a backward tumbling play on the track. So Paulo Orlando almost did it again to Foltynewicz.
Man, what a recovery by Smith. That's a great catch. He took the wrong route. Ooh, nice recovery.
A nice pitcher's duel, scoreless through 5. Earlier this afternoon, well before batting practice, third baseman Chesler Cuthbert was out there working with infield coach Mike Jerschele over at second base today. Now, this isn't a first for him. He's played one game, a couple of innings at second base for the Royals, did so last year, has a few games at second base in the minor leagues, but he also took balls at second base when he was up last year with the Royals. And talking to Mike Jerschele about it, he said he's very athletic, has good hands. His hands and his feet work very well together. He's smart. He retains information. You show him once and he picks it up, and he's got very good mechanics. Ned Yost saying to me today that he's certainly athletic enough to play second base or the corner outfield spots. They're not saying any of that's going to happen, but trying to capitalize on the versatility of Chesler Cuthbert.
Yeah, thanks, Joel. And watching what he was working on with Mike Jerschele as Smith, and he can really fly, gets it down into the corner. And Paulo Orlando digs it out very quickly. So a double that could easily have been a triple with Smith's speed. And remember, the Braves still don't have a triple yet this year, but now a runner at second base and nobody out. But to finish the thought, Hud, you know, okay, he's practicing second base. What's with all this underhanding and flip stuff? Well, fielding a ground ball and throwing to first base, if you're an infielder, that's probably the least of his worries. It's doing things like this, practicing underhanding to the shortstop and flipping to the shortstop. You don't do that as a third baseman.
No, and so this underhand toss, keep the wrist stiff. Keep it stiff, the ball goes straight. If you fling it and you bend your wrist and flip it, you're not going to have much control. There, keep the elbow up. Elbow over the ball, and it stays straighter, and you want to follow it. We talked about that a couple games ago when Cologne made a nice little backhand flip like that. Way to go. Get him ready. This kid is going to show more versatility. Ibar trying the bunt. Try to push it to third base. Ideally, especially with the strong throwing first baseman like Hosmer, you don't want to bunt it to him. Make the third baseman vacate the bag.
Going to be a tough play. Salvi got him. Braves aren't sure. Terry Pendleton, first base coach for the Braves, reacted immediately toward his own dugout. Now the Braves are 0 for 9 this year in challenges.
Salvi, like a cat, pounces out on this great bunt by Ibar, by the way. Oh, tough angle for there, but he's out.
He's out.
Yeah, I saw it live. I thought he was.
They will not challenge. So instead of first and third and nobody out, it's a runner at third and 1 out.
You know, I wonder if Andres Galarraga, the great Venezuelan they called the Big Cat, would mind if we nicknamed Salvi Grande Gato, because he pounced on that like a big cat. He's quick for as big as he is, and I think he's about the same size as Galarraga, if I'm not mistaken. I bet he's in the same league. But this is a perfect bunt. Salvi comes out of there. Great throwing action. Used the momentum, spun around, fired, stayed on top. Perfect play.
The Royals bring the infield in for Nick Markakis. Inside for ball 1. Markakis has grounded to short and struck out. He is 0 for 2 tonight. Good bat control. We just showed you 83% of the time he comes through in this situation. And now 2 balls and no strikes.
Showed you that high shot of the outfielders, how shallow they are. Lorenzo Cain, he's way in. In shallow, Paulo shallow. Alex is a few steps in.
Two balls and 1 strike. There's a reason why the outfield is shallow. You couldn't imagine the Royals playing Markakis this way when he was with the Orioles, but he's had very little power since joining the Braves. That's inside. 3 balls and 1 strike. Markakis in 9 seasons with the Orioles averaged 16 home runs per year and had some big home run seasons. In 2 years with the Braves, he's hit 3 home runs total. And now he'll take a walk. So not the worst thing in the world, as Markakis is a good bet to make contact and successful bringing a runner in from third, and now there's a chance for a ground ball and a double play. A reminder as you enjoy a cold one to look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Dylan G's second walk, first and third, one down for Ender Inciarte.
Inciarte has not grounded into a double play yet, but that's exactly what G would love to see right here. A little ground ball, keep the ball down, have him hit it right at somebody in the infield. That's a good pitch for it there had he swung.
Well hit to right field. Paulo is back and it's over his head. 1 run will score. Markakis goes to third. Inciarte has a double. Atlanta takes a 1-0 lead, and they have runners at second and third with 1 out.
Caught this one right out of the middle of the plate. He didn't miss it.
So a leadoff double, an out, a walk, and another double. Dave Ireland goes out for a chat with Dylan G, who is now at 70 pitches. And the Royals get Luke Hochevar up in the bullpen.
So why not load him up?
And Freddie Freeman is their biggest threat in the lineup. Now, one thing about the Braves offensively, Kelly Johnson will be coming up with the bases loaded. The Braves are last in the major leagues in runs scored. They are last in the major leagues in home runs, and they're last in the major leagues in slugging percentage. However, they are 4th in the National League hitting with runners in scoring position. And they've come through in this inning with the Inciarte double, and now Kelly Johnson will come to the plate with the bases loaded and 1 out. Markakis is at third, Inciarte is at second, and Freeman's at first.
Johnson 0 for 2 with him loaded up this year. And he's grounded into a couple double plays. That's why they loaded him up.
Chased a breaking ball down and out of the strike zone. One of those 5 strikeouts was earlier tonight. G got him with that curveball in the 4th. He's also grounded out to second base. Again, a curveball down and out of the strike zone, and it's 0-2.
Johnson guessing fastball and not getting what he wants. It started out belt high, ended up at the ground. Good depth to that curve.
Tried it again. 1-2.
Three in a row. If you throw 4 in a row for a strike, better be careful, because a hitter will track it after 2 in a row. He got to keep it down in the dirt if he does.
He does, and it's poked up the left field line.
I didn't like it.
4 consecutive breaking balls.
It's too many. You got to ground it. You got to throw that ball in the dirt. Johnson knew it was coming. He shortened up his swing, and that's exactly what he wanted to do. Just doink it in there. So 2 pitches was all that G did wrong tonight, really. And that wasn't a bad location, but that's the 4th one in a row, and he's looking for it.
So Dylan G comes out, allowed no runs, 3 hits in the first 5 innings, and now here in the 6th, 3 runs on 3 hits. Luke Hochevar is a Chevy call to the bullpen. Five innings, no runs, 3 hits, but in the 6th inning, he's allowed 3 runs, 3 hits. 2 of those hits are doubles, a couple of walks mixed in, one of them intentional. And now Luke Hochevar, the fireman, comes on with 2 on, 1 out, and facing one of his best friends in the game, Jeff Francoeur. Francoeur struck out twice against Dylan G. This is his first career at bat against Hochevar. When they were all Royals 2011 through 2013, Jeff Francoeur developed a close relationship with Luke Hochevar and Alex Gordon, who are already close friends. Their wives are close friends, and they vacation during the offseason, the 3 families. And it was this year's vacation that Alex Gordon told Luke Hochevar that they would remain teammates. Fastball makes it 0-2. Hochevar tells the story that the whole goal to get together on vacation is to enjoy being away from the game, enjoy their families. They don't talk a whole lot about baseball, and Luke was reluctant to bring it up, but everyone in the world is wondering what was going to happen to Luke, or to Alex. So Luke brought it up, and Alex basically told him, "I'll see you in surprise, buddy." Somehow Francoeur put that ball into play.
That looked like it almost bounced.
2 down.
Well, Hoch wasn't too kind to his buddy. This is a breaking ball that's right off the end of the bat. Salvi was going to block it. He threw him a fastball, a cutter, and a big curve. And those are his pitches. Got a nice 4-seamer. Excellent cutter. He has great command with that pitch. Overhand curve's a beauty.
Low to A.J. Pierzynski. He had an infield single in the second inning and then flied to center in the fifth. He has 23 career at-bats against Hochevar. That skips away from Salvador Perez and goes way up into the net. That gets Freeman to third and Johnson to second. Pass ball. Now wait a minute. How does a ball skip like that without hitting the dirt first? And it does not. And
yeah, they changed it.
David Boyce just changed it to a wild pitch. 1-1 on Pierzynski. One and two. A.J. Pierzynski was part of the broadcast team from the MLB Network when the Royals played the Astros in the division series last year. Matt Vasgersian, John Smoltz, and A.J. Pierzynski made up the three-man broadcast team.
That's a great team right there. You got a pitcher and a catcher and Vasgersian, accomplished play-by-play guy. I'd like to heard that broadcast.
Slow curveball struck him out. But the Braves get three. Inciarte drives in one. Johnson drives in two. The Royals will have the top of the order against Mike Foltynewicz. And their third time through the order when we come back. Royals baseball is brought to you by Dodge. Visit Dodge.com or your local dealer today. And by Steel Outdoor Power Equipment. Find a servicing Steel dealer at steeldealers.com or search STIHL. Breaking ball strike to Alcides Escobar, batting for the third time against Foltynewicz. Esky is lined to center and fouled out on a bunt attempt. And that's off the end of the bat. And he's down 0-2. Our Sonic Slam inning contestant is Don Crank from Warsaw, Missouri. If the Royals crank a home run in this inning, sorry, I couldn't resist. Don wins $1,800. Tap foul, still 0-2. The Royals had a grand slam. Don wins $25,000 from Sonic and the Kansas City Royals. The Royals have 5 hits against Foltynewicz. 4 of those are singles. Foltynewicz has not walked a hitter in his first 5 innings. He has struck out 3. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Foltynewicz is part of this Braves rebuild. He is out of the Astros organization. He was their first-round pick in 2010. The Braves got him in a trade for Evan Gattis. Popped up. Johnson wants it. Ibar calls him off. And there's 1 away.
Pretty shocking number there.
Very interesting.
Yeah, second time through, 176. First time through, but the third time through, and that's where the Royals are right now. Third time through, it's 364. Let's see if they can get to him.
Upstairs to Lorenzo Cain. He is single to right with a stolen base and grounded into a double play. Two balls and no strikes. Foltynewicz is in good shape with his pitch count. 71 through 5 1/3. Lorenzo taking all the way, and the count is 2-1. There's Lorenzo's fan club out in left field. The Lorenzo Canes. Two and two. Lorenzo's single in the first inning extended his hitting streak. He has now hit in 9 straight and 15 of his last 16 games. Strike 3 called, and he knew it. Number 4 for Foltynewicz. This weekend is Major League Baseball's first annual Play Ball weekend, proudly supported by Chevrolet and Scott's. MLB celebrates all forms of youth baseball and softball, from organized league games to playing catch. So be a part of something great. Let's play ball. Two balls and no strikes to Hosmer. Royals have had only a couple of scoring opportunities, true scoring opportunities, against Foltynewicz, and that was in the first inning and in the second inning. Hosmer grounds out to second, 3 up, 3 down. So Foltynewicz continues to roll along. He's pitched 6 scoreless innings and pitching with a 3-0 lead. scoring all 3 runs in the 6th inning. Ender Enciarte drove in one of the runs. Kelly Johnson the other 2. And here's how they did it.
And I think he only made 2 bad pitches. That was one right down the middle there, and he didn't miss it. And then the 4th curveball in a row to Johnson. Obviously Johnson knew it was coming. I mean, he felt it was coming, and he shortened up his swing and played it 2 more. But overall, nice job by Dylan G. I'm sure Ned Yost and Dave Island are pleased with his body of work. And any offensive support at all could be different.
Ground ball base hit for Gordon Beckham on the first pitch thrown by Scott Alexander. Yeah, I'll be interested to hear what Dylan and Ned Yost have to say about that pitch, because if you were to just isolate that one pitch, it looked like a good pitch. Breaking ball down out of the strike zone. But the twist to that is how you set up before that pitch was thrown. That was 4 consecutive curveballs, so Johnson got a look at 3 prior to that. The tilt, the velocity. And so is it still considered a good pitch if it's the 4th consecutive breaking ball?
Well, I didn't like it. I thought he might do it because Johnson himself knew he looked bad on the first 2 curves. Okay, and so as a hitter, you're going, wow, that was really terrible. I bet he comes back with that one again, and he did.
Gonna have to hurry, and Escobar, knowing the speed of Smith, just takes the out at second base. 1 away.
Yeah, that's a good choice there by Escobar. But anyway, credit Johnson for the hit. Okay, here's the whole sequence. Okay, he's going, oh man, I was guessing fastball. That wasn't right. All right, he's going to throw me a fastball. Nope, he threw it again. Okay, well, okay, all right. So he thinks I'm going to swing again? I am. He knew it was coming. Anyway, Alexander. Good sinking fastball. Nice slider. You know, likes to throw righties changeups. Sinker slider, so he's a ground ball guy. He can induce a lot of ground ball double plays. He hopes. Here, Ibar not having one of his better starts to a season. It's 185.
Salvi blocked it enough. Smith not happy with himself that he stayed put as it rolled up the first base line. 1 ball and 1 strike. We discussed this last night when we showed you the numbers for Eric Ibar, especially if you've been a Royals fan the last 10-15 years or so, because he has been as good as anybody hitting at Kauffman Stadium all time with at least 100 at bats. Tied with Chris Singleton, who is now a broadcaster. 381 here at Kauffman Stadium. Two balls and 1 strike. Dylan G simply took Chris Young's spot in the rotation. Scott Alexander was called up along with Peter Moylan when Young and Medlin went on the disabled list during the last road trip. Salvador Perez was going to throw down to first base if he was able to receive that pitch from Alexander.
One of the reasons Smith didn't run on that ball that bounced in front of Salvi is because Salvi's deep in their minds. They know how good a catch and throw and how quick he is picking that ball up off the ground and firing it down there. So I mean, they tried to steal when it was 0-0. I don't know why they wouldn't try here, although Alexander's looking right at him.
Smith read that move well. That got Salvi on the foot. Ouch.
That foul tip right there might have given Salvi an off day tomorrow. Day game.
Got him on the ankle.
Yeah, day game after a night game. Ooh, man. There's no protection there. So home plate umpire Ed Hickox already had a bag of balls in his ball holder right there on the side, but he walks over and asks for 2 more just to give Salvi a little bit of breathing room.
Still 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Alexander's trying to get Ibar to hit that ball to Cuthbert. Ibar's on his front foot, just trying to protect the 2 strikes.
Struck him out. 2 down. MLB.TV Premium is the #1 live streaming sports service. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD at home, in the office, or on the go. You'll get real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch-by-pitch tracking, and more. MLB.TV also includes a free at-bat premium subscription. Runner at first, 2 down to Nick Markakis. Running situation here. Speed at first, leadoff man at the plate with 2 down. So the trade-off is if Smith is thrown out, well, the Braves simply have their leadoff man leading off the next inning. I don't know if this is something that the Baltimore Orioles would have done with Nick Markakis with his power. Take a risk like this, but Markakis does not have that same power.
I don't know if you think about it. Markakis, you know, from Atlanta, you talked about that last night about how many of the local guys that had ties with the Braves earlier in their careers. But this is a veteran team for the most part. It's not a bunch of young guys they're throwing out there.
Those are his years since 2012. He also had a couple of 20-plus home run seasons.
On base percentage, man, that's great.
Smith finally got the jump he was looking for, and Markakis fouls it away. That's just the way it goes. He'd been trying to read Alexander this whole inning, and he ended up getting a really good jump, and it was all for naught. What do you say there, Hud?
Nice practice.
Nice practice.
Yeah. Good jump. Everything, just like you said. Smith reminds me a little bit of Gerard Dyson. Both hit from the left side of the plate. Both have really good speed.
Perez, by the way, threw out Smith in the 3rd inning trying to steal, and he stays at first base as Markakis strikes out against Scott Alexander. Alexander strikes out 2 in a scoreless 7. Stretch time at Kauffman Stadium. Before we get to the bottom of the 7th, let's answer our sprint trivia question. There are only 4 third basemen since the Royals' first year to record 6 hits in a game, and that's third baseman anywhere in the major leagues. We have Kevin Seitzer. We have Sean Figgins. I got a clue for a third one. He did it with the Cubs in the 70s, but was not known as a Cub. He was more famous with another team.
No, I liked it.
Or teams.
That's a good guess.
So we figured out that it was Bill Madlock.
Right.
So who would the 4th one be? Good start. Kendrys Morales is on for the first time. Leadoff man on, 7th inning with the Royals down 3-0.
Well, that's how you do it. You hit it over the shift. Well, that last guy, you know what?
How about let's say, how about Joe Randa?
Hey, there you go.
Attaboy, Joe.
Actually, Joe, you were our automatic unanimous first choice, but we held you last because we knew that you were waiting and thinking, how could they forget me? Way to go, Joe.
Left center field. Smith, I'm not sure if he was trying to tell Inciarte that he had it or if he lost it. It is that time of night where the ball can blend in with the sky, and he's pointing to his eyes. I think he was telling Inciarte, I didn't see it right away.
Well, that'd have been a nice break had he dropped that one. But Morales, he thought about going back to tag, and then he says, nah, we're down by 3. There's no need in testing it. Salvi carrying his right heel. Look at him. He's looking at it. That hurt him. He's still hurting. I'll bet he gets a day off tomorrow.
Chopped out to short. Ibar, Johnson, safe. Salvador Perez keeps the inning alive.
Well, didn't look like it's bothering him there, although he's got a little limp going. But, you know, once you get into full speed and you want to beat that out, look at him. He's saying, I'm going to do it. I'm going to beat this out. I'm going to get it. Good hustle, Salvi. Way to go, man. We'll show you the foul tip he took off of his right heel, where there was no protection, right underneath the protection. Got him right on the end of the heel.
So Chesler Cuthbert gets a chance with Perez at first, 2 down. Chesler is grounded out to second base and flied to center field.
So maybe that hustle by Salvi right there, beating out that ball, might get him something going here.
2 balls and no strikes. By the way, Joe Randa, that 6-hit game, he went 6 for 7 at Detroit in 04 and scored 6 runs.
Unbelievable.
And that tied a major league record.
And that got him and his jersey in the Hall of Fame.
Here's highlights of Joe, not from that game. Look at
wow,
old Kauffman Stadium.
Look where he hit that. I mean, he was off balance. That ball was out and away and down on him. Nice stroke.
Driving in former Royal great Jose Offerman. 2-2 on Cuthbert.
It looked to me like he was just going to drop that in between the center fielder and left fielder, but that ball hit off the wall. Joe Randa had some pop.
My first broadcast with the Royals, opening day 1999. Joe was batting second behind Carlos Beltran in Beltran's rookie year, and Joe took Pedro Martinez opposite field for his first home run of the year. Fultonevich just rainbows it over to first base, and that gets Cuthbert to end the 7th inning. 7 scoreless innings for Mike Fultonevich, trying to get the Braves their 9th win of the year. Last start was Sunday against Arizona. He gave up 2 earned runs in 7 innings. Tonight, no earned runs in 7 innings. 3-0 Atlanta to the 8th. Time for a Lee Summit Mazda game break. 6-5 Red Sox over the Astros. That's a home run from David Ortiz. Later in the game, he put the Red Sox in front with a triple. That's off of Colin McHugh, who's been really tough on the Royals. And David Ortiz, unless something happens in the playoffs, will be making his last visit to Kauffman Stadium Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It all begins with a Value Monday. It's a 6:05 game. You can purchase any Hy-Vee view tickets for only $10 courtesy of Hy-Vee. Visit Royals.com or visit your local Hy-Vee store to get your tickets today. So don't forget, 6:05 on Monday. Scott Alexander stays on for the 8th inning. 2-0 against Ender Inciarte, who has 2 hits and he's driven in a run. Alexander came on last inning. He gave up a leadoff single, but then retired the next 3 with a couple of strikeouts. Got the call. 2 balls and 1 strike. Chin-Ming Wong warms up in the Royals bullpen. Out there with Royals bullpen coach Doug Henry. 2-2.
I like Alexander. He's looking good. He's keeping everything down. He's got a good sinker. He's got a nice little slider to complement that. He's used very few changeups. He's a nice angle.
3-2. Not typically a strikeout pitcher. He is more of a contact pitcher. And when he's right, he's getting a decision from the hitter. 3 pitches or fewer. Little longer battle here with Inciarte. And there's a ground ball. Colon takes care of it. And there's 1 down in the 8th inning. Tonight's copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Kansas City Royals. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Club. Look at that beautiful sunset. And a big crowd here tonight, over 36,000. Ryan Lefevre, Rex Hudler with Joel Goldberg. We're going to make a little one-day trade tomorrow. Monty is out of town for his son Preston's college graduation. He'll be back tomorrow, and you will be away at your daughter Alyssa's college graduation.
Right, and Cade as well.
Oh, that's right, Cade graduating high school.
Right.
Good for him.
Yeah.
From?
Very special.
High school?
Blue Valley West.
Blue Valley West.
Yeah, it's been a great 4 years for him there. Wonderful school district. They've taken great care of him. Educated him the best he could be anywhere in the country.
Or Monty's son Spencer. I said Preston. Monty's son's name is Spencer. Thank you to producer Joe Vencius for that. And Joel. And Spencer, as far as we know. Broken bat.
Tester.
And no chance. Colon had to run in from right field. And Freddie Freeman has his first hit.
First base coach Terry Pendleton, in his 15th season on the coaching staff of the Braves, pulled one of the classiest moves I've ever seen a player handling a demotion. We were teammates in St. Louis in 1990. Joe Torre had just replaced Whitey Herzog. Todd Zeile was a second round pick who was a catcher at the time, and it wasn't working out for him at catcher. Pendleton was playing a pretty good third base and hitting for the Cardinals. They benched Terry Pendleton and put Todd Zeile at third base. And so when you're benched like that and you're a veteran player like Pendleton, you're being watched. How do you handle that demotion? And Terry Pendleton would sit in that dugout with me and carry meaner pom-poms than I did. He rooted for his guys. He kept his head up. He never complained one time, never said anything in the dugout to anybody about moaning and groaning about how come they did this to me. He was so classy. I wrote that down and said, you know, that's how I can carry myself. I want to carry myself like him. So what's he do the next season? He's a free agent. He signs with the Atlanta Braves and wins the MVP. Now that is a facial without saying one word. He went to the Atlanta Braves and became the MVP. He hit .319 with 22 homers and 86 RBIs in '91. Class act.
Look at that game face.
Yeah, he's a career baseball man and a great one.
2-2 on Kelly Johnson. He had the big hit for the Braves in their 3-run 6th inning with a slicing single into left field, turning a 1-0 game into a 3-0 game. On the ground to Hosmer, down to second one. Alexander to cover, not in time. Alexander also didn't get his foot on the bag. Tough play. 2 down and Johnson's at first base.
Didn't have enough time to get over there and get planted. Escobar had the ball, had to kind of do a little double clutch until he got there.
And now Chin-Ming Wong will come out of the Royals bullpen to face Jeff Francoeur. Royals baseball is brought to you by your local Kansas City area Chevy dealers. Visit for great prices on the all-new 2016 Malibu. By Panera Bread, food as it should be with 24 KC Metro locations. And by Academy Sports and Outdoors, right stuff, low price every day. Chin-Ming Wong with 2 outs and a runner at first. 3-0 Atlanta, 8th inning. Second time in 3 innings Ned Yost has made a pitching change in front of Jeff Francoeur, who lines it into right field for a base hit. So Wong didn't get that sinker down and Francoeur goes the other way, and they're 2 on with 2 out. And here's A.J. Pierzynski. A.J. Pierzynski first got to the big leagues Has a September call-up with Minnesota in 1998. This is his 19th major league season.
Hey, how come he wasn't in that trivia question that we had with Jeff Montgomery about guys that have been in the big?
He was.
Was he one of the answers?
Yeah.
My bad. I don't remember us saying his name.
One ball and 2 strikes. Well hit right center field. Johnson scores. Francoeur comes to the plate. He scores, and Atlanta leads 5-0 in the 8th inning. Our Ram drive of the game.
92. Just on the inner half of the plate. Pierzynski was waiting.
And Wong having a tough time getting the ball down. He left it up to Francoeur. He left it up to Pierzynski. And now the Royals have an even steeper hill to climb. They have 6 outs to go on offense and are down by 5. Here's a strike to Beckham, and the count is 1-1. In for a strike, 1-2.
Maybe the slider will start working. That's a good spot there.
Last time Wong pitched was on Thursday in New York. His first return to Yankee Stadium since playing for the Yankees, and he allowed a couple of inherited runners to score. So back-to-back rough appearances for him. That's where he wants to pitch, right there. That sinker just disappearing down and in to Beckham. One of the runs in this inning is charged to Alexander. Three balls and 2 strikes. Alexander departed with Johnson at first base and 2 down after pitching a scoreless 7th inning. On the ground to Escobar. Tough hop. Strong throw is in time to end the inning. But the Braves come up with 2 big runs in the top of the 8th to make it 5-0 Atlanta. pitched 7 scoreless innings. On Sunday against Arizona, he pitched 7 innings, only gave up 2 earned runs with 8 strikeouts, and he's been even better tonight. He is 2 outs away from tying his career high for innings pitched.
I thought the Royals were going to get to him, especially the first couple of innings. They've got some good wood on him. They hit some balls hard, but he was able to induce a couple of ground ball double plays. He's been able to use the corners. He's mixing in all of his pitches and his sliders right there. His slider curveball combination to go along with his nice fastball, which was above average, has worked. Got out of a couple jams. Royals had runners at third base, less than 2 outs. First couple innings, and they couldn't get him across.
Daniel Castro takes over for Kelly Johnson at second base. 2 balls and 1 strike on Christian Colon. He is 0 for 2. Way in on him. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Foltynewicz, and his career is just getting going, but looking at little milestones along the way, he has never won on the road. Now we'll see what kind of fielder he is. He picks it up with his bare hand, and it's in time. 1 down in the bottom of the 8th. Foltynewicz, they're telling you that he is originally out of the Astros organization. A first-round pick of the Astros in 2010. A couple of years later, he was the Astros minor league pitcher of the year, and then to Atlanta in a trade for catcher Evan Gattis. He had a scare late in the season last year in September. He had to have surgery to remove life-threatening blood clots. And for those in the medical field, he had costochondritis, inflammation of the rib joints. Rushed to a hospital where he had the surgery. And like a lot of pitchers with a big arm, they find out the more they progress up through the minor leagues and get to the big leagues that you're going to need more than a fastball. And when he started using all of his pitches like he has tonight, well, then there was the final call to the big leagues, or at least the call to the big leagues, to see if he could compete at this level.
He looks really good tonight, and he had to have been quite a scare for him and his family having something like that. Multiple blood clots.
Still 2-2 on Paulo Orlando. Don't forget to vote for the Royals Player of the Month at one of the 7 Rally House locations in the Kansas City metro area. All participants will be entered to win a majestic prize pack. Fair ball. Second hit for Paulo Orlando. And in a 5-0 game right now, the Royals need base runners, and Paulo stops at second base with a 1-out double. He took a turn around second base, but realized the situation and hit the brakes.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That slider hung up there a little bit, and he's able to stay on top of that, yank it down the line. Good stroke.
Foltynewicz is now at 98 pitches. They begin to go to work in the Braves bullpen, and that's pitching coach Roger McDowell out to have a chat, and probably more than anything else, just allow the bullpen some time. The clock is now at 0. So doesn't that mean that if you're not off the mound when the clock hits 0, don't they take you out in the parking lot and whip you?
I don't think so, but we haven't seen anybody get called on it. I think if anything, the umpire's going to just go to the mound and say, hey, let's go.
Jason Grilli, the right-hander, Ian Kroll, the lefty. Escobar is 0 for 3. Sliders in for a strike. The hit for Paulo Orlando is the Royals' 7th hit tonight, and just their 2nd extra base hit. Since the first inning, this is about as good as it has been for the Royals for a scoring opportunity. They had runners at first and third and 1 out in the first. Foltynewicz picked off Eric Hosmer at first for the 2nd out and got out of it. But since then, this is it. Twice they've had a runner at second with 1 out. If you want to call that a scoring opportunity. Escobar is out, 2 down. That's how good Foltynewicz has been. And now he has tied his career high with 7 2/3 innings pitched.
You know, I noticed him kick it in a different gear when he got 3 runs in the 6th inning. He came out, he just looked more confident. He picked up that ball and said, all right, I have a good chance here to win this game. And he started smelling the finish line, and he's been executing pitches like that all night. He's home plate umpire Ed Hickox has missed 3 pitches from him, and each time he showed a little body language and shook his head a couple times like, man, you missed that one. That was a strike. But other than that, this kid's been really good.
Up the middle, Castro just into the game for defense, and he makes a big defensive play.
What a play, especially when he couldn't get the grip. I had a little bit of a hard time getting it out of his glove with Lorenzo Cain running. Let's check it out here. I think he slipped. I think that's what it was. He slipped.
Top of the 9th inning, and as we promised earlier in the game, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite.
Salvador Perez, fantastic job tonight. Threw out another runner. How about that? He's the 2nd best thrower so far in the American League. Jonathan Lucroy threw 1 out tonight, so he's 1 ahead of Salvi. Look at that play there, pouncing like a cat. And mentioned, wonder if Andres Galarragos, that's a line shot right at Locaine, and he couldn't get it. There's their first
Smith
triple.
can run. Well, we figured if you're going to get your first triple, this would be a good ballpark for that. So Chien-Ming Wang came on last inning. He has faced 4 batters. He has given up a single, a double, a triple, And he's gotten a ground out.
I mean, he just crushed it. And for a center fielder, very difficult. And that's a line drive, a low line drive, right over your head, hard to pick up. And if you don't get the exact break on it, you're not going to catch it. That's what happened. Smith with a good swing.
Infield in all the way except for Colon at second base. First triple of the season for the Atlanta Braves, and this is game number 35 for them. Ibar is 0 for 3. One of his outs was a play we just showed you when he tried to bunt his way on. 1 ball and 1 strike.
So if the big cat Andres Galarraga is 6'3", 235, Salvi's 6'3", 250. What do we call Salvi? The grander Gato?
Muy grande gato.
There you go. Salvi be proud if he knew we were comparing him with the big cat.
El Puma.
Yeah.
Off the plate and foul. 2-2 on Ibar. So the first triple, and to put it into historical perspective, that was our Kubota power stat from earlier in the game. Most games to begin a season without a triple. The 82 Giants went 41 games. Then the 73 Expos 38, and the Braves 34, and they put an end to that.
I thought Warren Cromartie got that triple.
Drove in Ellis Valentine. Down and away, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Cuthbert, Escobar, and Gordon in pursuit, and it lands on the track and bounced back into the crowd.
Tomorrow, NASCAR heads to the Monster Mile at Dover with his Sprint Cup Series racing as Jimmy Johnson looks to defend his title from last year. It's at 10:30 a.m. on FS1 or watch it live on Fox Sports Go. Go Jimmy Johnson.
You a big Jimmy Johnson guy?
You know, I like watching NASCAR, yeah. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of his.
Well, why do you want him to win if you're not a huge fan of his?
Well, because, I mean,
you just like guys who are defending their title?
That's right. I need a day off.
Oh boy.
I'm a Richard Petty fan.
I don't think he's racing at Dover tomorrow.
I know. Good chance he'll be there, though.
Blocked by Salvi. Ball 1 to Nick Markakis. Smith with a leadoff triple. He's a home run shy of the cycle, by the way. He has a bunt single, a double, and he turned that into a run in the 6th inning, and now a triple here to begin the 9th. Markakis is 0 for 3 with a walk and a run scored. The Royals in the 3-run 6th pitched him carefully. Smith doubled against Dylan G with 1 out, and a runner at second base. G walked Markakis, and then Inciarte drove in a run with a double. 2 batters later, Johnson drove in 2 with a single. Down and away, 3 balls and no strikes. There's Inciarte waiting on deck. 3-1. Markakis walks for a second time. And now the Royals talking strategy with Inciarte coming up. Salvador Perez looking into the Royals dugout. And now Salvi's going to go out and talk to Chin-Ming Wong. Peter Moylan is warming up in the bullpen and appears to be ready. Royals might be talking about the different options if the Braves try a double steal. Braves have outstanding speed at third base. Moylan appears to be ready, so it wouldn't appear that they're just killing time for him. And Ned Yost is not on the stairs in the Royals dugout.
Oh, but Mike Jershely moved Escobar and Infante, or excuse me, Colon, back in double play depth there. So they're expecting the ground ball here.
At the knees for a strike. 5-0 Braves, and Inciarte drove in their first run in the 6th inning with a double to right. And then he scored on the 2-run single by Johnson. Oh, 2. Tomorrow afternoon, Danny Duffy pitches for the Royals. Our annual salute to the Negro Leagues and also dress to the nines. A 1:15 first pitch. Foul ball off to the right field side. Played well by the ball boy. Matt Wisler will go for Atlanta. Coverage begins at 12:30. One and two. Dylan G went 5 1/3 innings. He allowed 3 runs, 6 hits. That was after 5 scoreless innings, and then hit with 3 runs in the 6th. Hochevar got the last 2 outs of the 6th inning. Scott Alexander allowed a run in an inning and 2/3, and now Wong has allowed a run in 2/3 of an inning. Ground ball to Cuthbert, out at second, and a double play. 5-4-3. So the Braves do not turn a leadoff triple into a run.
Great turn there by Colon.
with a career high 8 innings and 8 scoreless innings, no walks. And with 4 strikeouts, typically a big strikeout pitcher. He struck out 8 in his last start, 4 tonight, but really used his defense well. The Royals stranded only 6 runners in those 8 innings, so well-deserved congratulations for him. Panera takes us around the league. Boston beating Houston in 11. David Ortiz with the game-winning hit. Minnesota wins its first road game in the division, beating Cleveland. Baltimore on its way to its 7th consecutive win. New York beat Chicago, so this was an opportunity for the Royals to pick up a game. So that's what's going on in the division and in the American League. This is Ian Kroll for the bottom of the 9th. And he's in with a strike to Eric Hosmer.
Kroll, he's got a sinking fastball. 87 and 92, curve and a change.
And it's 0-2. He was just called up, so he's making his 3rd appearance. Called up when reliever Jim Johnson was placed on the disabled list. Strike 3 called. 1 down in the bottom of the 9th.
Haas thought that was away, but caught a little bit of the plate.
Well, as the Braves struggle through an 8-26 season, at least to this point, they are going through a dramatic rebuild. And a lot of the players that they plan to rebuild with are not with the team. This is not a young team. This is the team that they have put together so that the younger players can develop in the minor leagues. But one of those young players that they plan to build around is Mike Foltynewicz. And when the Braves had that great run of 14 consecutive division titles, for a large portion of that run, it had a lot to do with 3 Hall of Fame pitchers: Greg Maddux, Tom Glavine, and John Smoltz. Freddie Gonzalez was a coach on some of those teams under Bobby Cox, just like Ned Yost. Base hit into right center field for Morales, who continues to swing the bat well as a right-hand batter. He has a base hit from each side of the plate tonight, so he's on with 1 out. Speaking of Kendrys, make sure to come out to Kauffman Stadium Saturday, June 18th against the Tigers for the 2nd bobblehead of the season. The first one was Ned Yost tonight. Kendrys Morales, and that's his reaction after the home run in Game 5 of the American League Division Series. It's courtesy of Kia and available to the first 20,000 fans through the gates.
That was off Dallas Keuchel. He gave him a little parting gift as Keuchel keucheled the Royals big time, and then he came in relief. That was a shot. I mean, a shot. Ball probably got about 50 feet in the air and just sailed out of the cave.
You know, one of the things being a broadcaster is we get to hear the roar of the crowd, but very rarely do we get to be in the middle of the roar of the crowd. You get to do that during the playoffs.
I was down on the third base well, right, or excuse me, first base well, right by the dugout.
The Royals were ahead at that point, and I was doing the game with Denny on radio, and with the Royals bullpen, you figure they're going to win the game. So I started to make my way out toward the set out in left field, and I was on the concourse when Kendrys hit that home run, and that was neat. That's something I don't get to experience very often, being in the crowd and hearing the roar. And this place almost crumbled to pieces when Morales hit that home run, because remember, it was 2 days at one game and 2 days after that miraculous come from behind win in Game 4 in Houston, when the Royals were just inches away from being eliminated in the division series. And I think Royals fans knew, based on the year before. Strike 3 called. Alex is down, 2 away. I think Royals fans knew when they won that game that they were going back to the World Series again. We're going to take a little trip down memory lane when we come back, as Freddie Gonzalez makes a pitching change with the tying run in the clubhouse, taking his shoes off. Here comes Jason Grilli. Kendrys Morales bobblehead coming up next month. How about that home run in Game 5 of the American League Division Series against the Astros?
Morales sends a ball well hit into left center field, and that one is
gone. Matt Vasgersian with the call. AJ Pierzynski, who's catching right now, was in that broadcast booth with Matt Vasgersian and John Smoltz. Jason Grilli comes on to face Salvador Perez with a runner at first and 2 down. The Royals led 4-2 in that inning. Kendrys takes off, and that ball's drilled to center field and caught by Smith. So Grilli comes on and makes 1 pitch and closes out the game. He doesn't even need to take a shower. And the Braves even the series tonight, shutting out the Royals 5-0.